What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Hey, everybody, what is going on? This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And let's get started today. Today is Motivational Monday. Yes, it is. And I've got a question for you. Are you living the life you deserve? Or are you living the life that was given to you? We're going to discuss that here on Motivational Mondays on the Plan Your Greatness channel.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got music on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building.
Hey, we are back. We are here on the Plan Your Greatness channel, and this is Motivational Mondays. Now, if you've been following my channel, you saw on Sunday as I introduced what the theme of this week is going to be. The theme of this week is Prison Week. And yes, again, if you've been following my channel, you know at some point in time in my life, I actually spent some time in prison. And so this channel is dedicated to that. This channel is dedicated to the book that's going to be published later on, Plan Your Greatness, Life, Love, and Business After Sports and Prison. And this week, because earlier in the year, May 31st, 2019, marked the 20-year anniversary of me being released from prison, May 31st, 1999. And so it has been this 20-year odyssey after I got out of prison in rebuilding my life. And so now, as I'm going to take you on kind of this chronological journey of where I started from and where I'm at right now, because again, I'm asking you the question, are you living the life that you deserve, or are you living the life that was given to you? And so many of us are complaining about where we are in life, but we're not doing anything. We're not taking any sort of action toward changing our lives as far as then making some adjustments, because we're looking at all the things that happened in our past and we're saying, well, this is what was given to me, so this is all all I can really expect out of life. But as I have proven to myself, and there's other people that have proven to themselves that that's not always the case. You can make a life out of what you were given and then create a life that you deserve as opposed to what was given to you. So now, let me take you on a trip back in time. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning because I need to give you kind of a foundational platform to really give you an idea of where I came from. And then this will be the theme. You'll hear me talk about it during the week, during Prison Week. And the inner theme, or the sub theme of that is, how did I do it? Okay, are you living the life that you deserve as opposed to the life that was given to you? But then I'm explaining to you, how did I do it? Because that's the question that has been asked me for the past 20 years. Carlton, how did you do it? How did you go from your life of baseball to homelessness and all the other stuff and become a college grad and author? And I'm going to take you through that. So here we go. We're going to go all the way back to the very beginning. Now, I know some people may be listening to this, even some family members. This may hurt a little bit because I'm poking at some things, specifically my mother and father. I love them to death, but we need to lay a good foundation. All right, so now we're starting at the beginning. I'm born, Gary, Indiana. I am the 7th of 9 children. Now that in itself brings up some interesting dynamics. 7 of 9 children. Now let's actually put it into even a sharper context. My dad was 28 years old when I was born. My mother was 24. Now think about that. You are now bringing into the world your 7th child. You're still going to have 2 more, but you are bringing into the world your 7th child by the age of 24. Now, looking at it, as I've had a chance to reflect on my life as I wrote the book and ask some questions of my siblings, my mom, my dad, it is blatantly obvious, looking back on it, that neither one of my parents had the prerequisite wherewithal of being a parent. Now, someone will say, Well, that happens to a lot of us. We don't know the rules. Absolutely. And it manifests itself over time that they didn't really do anything as far as trying to get better, become better parents. So in that regard, I'm poking at them a little bit, but I love them to death. I know what they brought to the table at the time. So as I look at it, I just go, they worked with whatever they had to work with. All right, so here I am, the seventh of 9 children to a dysfunctional home. And within that dysfunction, what was interesting, there's some attributes that I got from my father, which is I got his womanizing, I got his just mismanagement of money, his violence. I got all those things. Now, something that he gave us from just watching him is I got a work ethic. And my daughter reminded me of that within the past couple of days as far as, how is it that I stay consistent and motivated to do the things that, provide us the lifestyle that we have right now. And I was like, no, it was probably given to me from my father. So he handed me a work ethic that I take into my life now. But at the same time, me being born into that household was very funky and difficult. So these were some of the factors that we're now stacking on top of this dysfunctional home, being in a home full of 9 children, 2 parents. So we're talking about an 11-person home, 4-bedroom, 1 bath. All right. So now I'm displaying to my mom that I am now just a handful. And by the time, and I understand this now, by the time my mom gets to me, she's like, oh my God, this is too much. So what she does, just really not really being aware of how the educational system works, she starts me in school early. And because she put me in school early, it started a snowball effect of me having academic deficiencies all through school, elementary, middle school or junior high, and high school. And the only thing that kept me motivated was I liked sports. And so you had to go to sports. There wasn't club teams and all the other stuff like they have now. And that may have encouraged me to just, man, I'm deuces, I'm out. But in order for you to participate in the sports, you had to do it through the school. So here I am starting in school early, creating these academic deficiencies where I was then placed in special ed at a very early age. And so then that continued on to where I graduated high school. And I think about that. And I look back on it, I said, how in the world did I even graduate high school with a 1.51 grade point average? And the college entrance exam, I scored an 11. I think you needed to score somewhere between a 19 or a 21 to really get into any of the schools. And I scored an 11, which I look back now and say, was that really accurate to where I was? Probably, as far as my academically, but as far as just deeply intellectually, nah, it's not. We can see now that wasn't the case. But again, what held me in school was my elite athletic ability, which was starting to get recognized by college programs and professional organizations. So then now I end up going on to college, going to a community college because of my grades. But at that moment, I get bigger, stronger, I get drafted. Okay, so now you're seeing how this is going. I get drafted to play professional baseball. And to me, it was like, hallelujah. I don't have to go to any more school. But here's what I understand. And the term that I gave it was an illusion of progress. I was progressing on from college to professional sports. I basically had a full-time job. I was getting paid. I had a sense of accountability from an organization where I needed to be, specific times of the year. But I had not progressed. So there was this illusion of progress. All right. So as I rocket through the organization, I'm being told that I'm on the path to greatness. I'm on this path to wealth, fame, fortune. I mean, I'm a left-handed pitcher. I throw dang near 100 miles an hour, and I'm healthy. But then all of a sudden I get hurt. And now once I got injured, everything started coming back to the surface, because then now what's being highlighted is I don't have an education. I barely have any skills. I don't have the articulation. So, and I didn't make enough money, or I don't have enough of a brand to just go out into the real world and be able to transition just on my name. So now what's happening is I'm getting a little nervous because I'm looking at my life and I'm going, I have no plans. I'm released. Eventually I got released. I have no goals. I'm essentially a tool to anybody who has their life together. And that's where I'm wandering through that existence. And so what happens at that point is I go through depression because I don't have any goals. And I'm feeling myself just being used by people. So I'm going through depression. That depression creates this very irresponsible individual. I'm struggling with school. I'm struggling with jobs. I'm struggling with relationships. So I can't even function on a decent level. So now what happens is I become homeless. That homeless creates other relationships, creates other things going on in my life. And then I eventually get involved with some other individuals into an armed robbery. So now that armed robbery takes me through the criminal justice system and I eventually am incarcerated. So now, see where I am at that point. I'm having to make some really, really difficult choices in my life. So now I have to look at where I'm at and make a decision and say, okay, what is going to happen? So that brings me back to the very top. Are you living the life you deserve, or are you living the life that someone had given you? So all those things that I just shared with you are all the things that were presented and given to me as a life. So here I am completely backed up against the wall. And so now I have to, in a sense, recreate myself. So I have to create a whole new mindset. I have to create a whole new frequency. I have to create a whole new vibration. And I have to create a whole new belief system. And so as I'm doing that, I'm having to consistently realize that I'm still walking the grounds of a prison yard. So, and I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I said, and this was a woman explaining to me that she had just served 10 years in prison. So I asked her the question. I said, how difficult was it to have these goals and dreams and then open your eyes and look in front of you and see a wall, see a door that you can't go anywhere. You can't walk anywhere. You can't go down to the store and buy a blow pop, a favorite sucker. You can't go get a drink. You can't just go running and exercise. You can't go to the gym. You are just going to look at a wall and realize that all the dreams that you have, you're not going to be able to even start physically doing anything. You have to be in that mental state. And so I was asking her, because I didn't tell her what my background was, but she explained to me how difficult that was, because I know how difficult that was when I was locked up, and trying to maintain a sustained focus when you know that you're not going to be able to really act upon what you're doing for another 2, 3, 4 years. And I talked about that before. But again, here we are at the question of Monday, and that is, are you living the life you deserve, or are you just living and accepting the life that was given to you? So as I began changing my mindset, my frequency, my vibration, my belief system, I began writing in this journal. And in that journal, I kept a daily log of what was going on. That journal, once I got out of prison, I reopened it to just see how far I'd come, because I had moved from a couple of different places. And so now I opened up this box and there was this journal. And I started to sit down and read it. And it was so exhausting because I had tried to be so honest with myself that this was a very difficult time to read it. So I had someone else I had someone else edit the journal, and then actually not edit, but transcribe it from physical papers to a Word document, and then I edited it. And it was so exhausting, it took me about a year. So here I am now at this point. I've moved on with my life, but I had a chance to reflect back through this journal. So as I was reading that journal and editing it for the purposes of creating it into a book, because I have written 4 books now, working on a 5th, and I have a concept for a 6th. But the understanding was as I was editing this journal, what came about was the 4th book, which is Plan Your Greatness, Life, Love, and Business After Sports and Prison. Because that book came out of me reflecting on all the things that I went through as I was writing in the journal. So that book, this book that's going to be out hopefully by the end of this year, it was the lessons that I learned. So as I say this again, are you living the life you deserve, or are you living the life that was handed to you? So as I began to write the book, I started realizing that what I was doing was I was rewriting the story. Because once I got out of prison, I went right into school. I became an ASU graduate. I got a girl pregnant, and my kid's mom got her pregnant. We ended up having 2 children together. I created a business because I needed to get out of the corporate space because I had this felony, which it was constantly roadblocking me as far as getting just traditional jobs. So then I'm writing the book. I start getting opportunities to speak, to tell my story. I'm rewriting my path. And what came about just recently, I was listening to this motivational speaker by the name of David Goggins. David Goggins said that his goal was to, on the day that he would meet God, like we have this thing in our society that you know, at some point you're going to die and you're going to stand before God and have to kind of really address the life you've lived. And David Goggins said he has this vision in his mind that he's going to be standing before God, and God's going to just kind of shake his head, and he's going to be like, what's up? He's going to be like, young man, before you start turning things around, I had you on this particular path, but you know what, son? You know what you did? You actually took that book and you rewrote it. And so it forced me as God to rewrite your story. So I just stopped at the moment that you got in front of me, because you've been changing your narrative. From that point you made that change. And so that's what I look at, that all the way up until the point that I went to prison, that life was pretty much given to me. If you look at it and just look at, a black male in this country, growing up in that particular area with the education level that I had at the time that I went into prison, it was basically telling you I was exactly where I should be. But then I looked around and said, nope, that's okay. I know what life I've been given, but damn it, I'm going to see if I can actually change it. And I have proved, not to the world, but I've proved to myself, and I've proved to anybody who feel that they've been given a life, that you can absolutely change it. And there's many of you out there that have nothing, nowhere near the circumstances that I was in, but you're not doing anything with it. You're just wallowing in it. You're complaining, and that doesn't do anything. So again, I don't make any more excuses. And one of the most powerful things that I do remember while I was locked up was the conversations. I call it the inmate reflection articulation. Now, that sounds all fancy. Sounds like somebody's doctorate degree. The inmate reflection articulation. Now, what I mean by that is I noticed that every inmate, every one of them, including myself very early, could articulate and tell you how they got there, all parties, all characters involved, and I mean with extreme detail. So what I looked at when I saw that was, I said, man, if an inmate can articulate where they came from, how they got there, I said there's got to be some sort of process of either reverse engineering that or stopping it at that point and then rewriting a story. That's what I was thinking. I didn't realize that I was in the process of actually doing that. But now that I look back on it, if I were to go in, which is which is one of the next things that I'm going to be looking to do, is going in and speaking to inmates and said, look, somebody handed you a bag of rocks. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to sit there and carry it, or are you going to take them rocks and dump them out and put something more value in your bag and then mosey on down the road? And that's what I did. I opened up the bag and I said, oh, look, y'all done gave me a bag of rocks. Fool, you got me. But I emptied that bag out. You know what I put in it? I put in diamonds. I put diamonds in that bag. And so here I am and all I'm doing is just polishing up the diamonds, you know, and then selling them. You know, that's really, really what I'm doing. And so, as you can see, I'm addressing this question again. Are you living the life that you deserve, or are you living the life that was given to you? Clearly, I started out living the life that was given to me, but then I said, nah, miss me with that. I'm going to go out here and change this narrative. And as I have done that, I have been absolutely 100% unequivocally planning my greatness. All right. So the call to action is ask yourself, look around, look closely, be critical, look at your life and ask yourself, am I living the life that I deserve, or am I living the life that's been handed to me? Now, I would have reason to believe that it's probably 98%, because Napoleon Hill in his research said that as he's come across over 30,000 people in 30 years, he said it's typically 1 out of 20 who are actually living the life that they deserve, which what he calls is they have a definition of purpose and they are going after it. So again, my call to action to you is, are you living the life that you deserve? Are you looking closely at what has been handed to you? And are you continuing to live that life that was handed to you? Or are you going to make it the rest of your life, I mean, your natural life, the goal to turn this whole thing around and live the life that you deserve? All right. So make sure you are hitting the like button, you're hitting the share button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you are checking with us on Instagram, on Twitter. That's where you'll get like the updates and the notices that we're going live, or we're just a video is coming out. And you know, that's it. I just wanted to start out this week, Motivational Monday, giving you a little foundation and understanding that where I came from, answering the question, how did I do it? So I'm laying it down for Motivational Monday is, are you living the life you deserve? Okay. You can stop that at any point in time and start living the life you deserve, as opposed to living the life that's been given to you. All right. I'm going to close as I always do. Plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see you all next Monday on Motivational Mondays and Greatness Channel. You guys take care.
He was home. No one said